Welcome back everybody to another episode of Direct Comparison. In today's episode, we're going to be comparing the original State of Decay game to the brand new sequel, State of Decay 2. The original State of Decay released back in 2013 for the Xbox 360 and PC. It was designed by a small indie studio using the Crytek engine, the same engine used to develop technically impressive games like Crysis and Rise. But you wouldn't know from looking at it. The game's visuals, even for 2013, were really outdated, and when they showed a trailer for State of Decay 2, it looked like at first glance nothing had really changed. But that couldn't be further from the truth. State of Decay 2 looks significantly better thanks to the Unreal 4 engine, and about 5 years of graphical evolution. So let's break down the basics and see what exactly makes this game look much better. So to start off, let's talk about resolution and frame rate. The original State of Decay didn't support resolutions past 1080p. The game was later re-released under the name Year 1 Survival Edition, with options to push the game natively to 4K. You could always force the original game to run at a higher resolution by changing the startup options to full screen, forcing the game to run at your monitor's native resolution, but the game's UI wouldn't scale alongside this, which looked terrible. State of Decay 2 thankfully supports high resolutions right out of the box, without the need to tweak anything, and everything looks much sharper. One thing that stands out almost immediately is the much smoother performance in State of Decay 2. The game doesn't stutter and hitch as you move around the world rapidly like it did before, and the game's built-in motion blur gives the impression of a much smoother and more polished experience. Next up, let's look at the textures. Textures have seen a much needed improvement in State of Decay 2, though they still aren't all that impressive, with things like tree textures and rock textures looking really flat and blurry. Character model textures have seen a huge jump in quality though, with clothing appearing more realistically than the plastic-looking appearance of the first game. One thing that drove me nuts about the first game was its terrible animation design. Walking, running, climbing, talking, everything just looks so poorly done. State of Decay 2 is much smoother and feels like it's more in line with a AAA game like Dead Rising in terms of animation quality, though facial animations are still pretty lackluster. Next up, one of the most obvious changes to the game is the lighting quality. The original State of Decay looked like a dead wasteland with a reddish hue to everything. The game's lighting effects were very pre-baked, and things like shadows were often too dark, making it difficult to see in most situations. State of Decay 2 has much brighter coloration and far better global illumination. Bloom effects are more apparent, and things like flashlights seem to render more accurately. Shadow quality has also seen a slight improvement, with softer edges around character and world object shadows, and more of the world seems to cast shadows than before. Now, there's not very many effects in the State of Decay games. Most of the games focus on using melee weapons to hack and slash zombies apart, and both games feature around the same level of zombie dismemberment. I also didn't run into any instances of that very common glitch from the original game, where zombies would get stuck suspended in midair after killing them. Fire effects look significantly improved, and vehicles explode much faster than they do in State of Decay 1. Things like special zombies have been enhanced and exaggerated to some degree, with enemies like this huge tank-like zombie appearing much larger and more cinematic to a degree. And finally, water quality is not really that great in either game, as it's not really an important part of the gameplay, but they do look a little bit better in State of Decay 2. So overall, State of Decay 2 does look better than the original game thanks to the Unreal 4 engine, though there's not as many improvements as I would have liked to see. It's still a very indie-esque game and doesn't really compete with more AAA games. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this posted every week.